Okay, so after you have taped this to the board and did the lines, there is one step that I neglected to tell you about. I showed it in the PowerPoint presentation that you saw at the beginning of the project, but then when we started drawing the pictures, I forgot about it. So we're gonna, for those of you who have already got to this step, don't worry about it. But what was supposed to happen was the lines were supposed to overlap. So if you can see my mountains here, they go right through these mountains here. You see that? Okay, so cross-hatching and hatching is a technique that's used to create tones or shading. Where do you see cross-hatching on the board? Or hatching? Where do you see hatching on the whiteboard?
The eyes.
In the eyes. Where else?
The shadow.
The shadow. So, and where else? One other place. In his ears. Okay? So that's how lines are used. You can actually do hatching where they're only going in one direction, and the closer you get to each other, the parallel lines, the darker it gets. Okay? Or you can use cross-hatching or a combination of those two. So, on this particular drawing, you can see that I did these curved lines on these shapes here because that was one of the patterns. But then I went on one side and I did more lines here to make it look like there's shading to it. In case you can't see it very well. So, after you do the layout and show it to me from your sketch folder, you're going to take a regular piece of paper and re-sketch it, either by tracing it or transferring it. Then I'm going to give you one of these boards that's about 10 times as thick as a regular piece of paper. You're going to tape it to that, draw the lines, and then you're going to leave it on there until you do all of your patterns. Okay, so that's the next step of this process. Make sense? Questions? Any questions? 2 minutes and 2 seconds? Awesome. 11 seconds. Yes?
Can we do multiple drafts for the...
Absolutely. By the way, as I mentioned a couple of times, can y'all look up here for another minute? Another 10 seconds or so? You don't have to do an exact replica of the photograph. You can take bits and pieces of it. This one actually came from 2 different ones. So the hills came from one, the tree came from another, and actually the mountain range came from another. And I just did a double sun just for the heck of it, and the clouds are just sort of random. Okay? As long as you can kind of get where the main features, the foreground, middle ground, and background are, and then we'll deal with the color next time, okay, on how to apply the color. Question? No question? You just thumbs up? Awesome. Yes, you may listen to music as long as it doesn't occupy a lot of your time. And go.